Welcome everyone back to weekly weather updates, and in today's video we're going to have a look at the latest from the live radar. Then we'll have a look at the UK Met Office run, looking at the 5-day precipitation and temperature, and then we'll have a look at the longer range, looking at the GFS, the GM, the ECMWF and the Ensembles, as it does look like we could be seeing a warmer second half of April. Now, for the last few videos, in the last week or two really, we have been very much emphasised on the cold weather we have been seeing. The very cold end of March and start of April. That cold weather is going to continue over the next 4 or 5 days. We're going to be seeing more wintry showers around the next day or two. Then things drying up a little bit, but turning very frosty quite widely. We could have consecutive overnight frosts for pretty much the whole of the United Kingdom over the course of the next couple of days. By the start of next working week, things turning a little bit milder from the far southwest, but still reasonably unsettled. It's beyond that in around a week's time, a week's to 10 days' time. That's when we're seeing a signal now, potentially for high pressure to really build back in sort of a blocking way, turning things much warmer potentially and very dry as well. Again, it all depends on the positioning of the high pressure, and we'll have a look at all the different models today, see what they are showing. But perhaps there are signs maybe even in a heat wave on some of the runs, so have a look at that. So remember, if you enjoy my videos, make sure to like and subscribe, and remember to follow me on Twitter as well, the link's in description. So you start on the live radar, you can see at the moment things are generally quite dry. Now, we do have quite a few showers further northwards at the moment, especially across northern Scotland, parts of Northern Ireland and the Republic of Ireland as well. Some of these turning turning quite wintry, especially over the higher ground, but even to low-lying areas. We could be seeing a little bit of sleet, hail, and maybe some snow within the heavier pulses as well. So these showers will spread inland over the course of the day. I'm recording this around lunchtime, so these will spread through the course of the day. So by the time you're watching this, there probably are more showers, more widely spread out. Now, if we look to the south, you can see this big system over France into the near continent. This is Storm Diego, named by the French Met Office. And I had seen some overhyping of it, that it was going to affect the UK. But you can see it is firmly to our south. Yes, the northern extent of its weather fronts are perhaps clipping the far south coast. And in yesterday's video, we did allude to that. We did say it could clip the far south coast, seeing a few heavier showers and some more persistent rain potentially right along the coast. But the majority of all the rain and the stronger winds are all across the continent, not affecting the UK really at all. Now, we were looking potentially at this system affecting the UK maybe 4 or 5 days ago. But for the last couple of days, it has been very apparent that it was going to miss the UK. So, yeah, Storm Diego's well to our south, not affecting us at all, and that's why we haven't really talked about it that much. But that will be bringing a lot of heavy rain and some snow and some stronger winds to parts of Europe. But for the UK, for the time being, it's reasonably dry with a scattering of showers around today. Feeling quite chilly, though, in a northerly wind as colder areas taking over the whole country. So we do now have a look at the UK Met Office run, have a look at precipitation and temperature over the next 5 days. Now you can see Storm Diego just to our south with its weather fronts pushing, sort of sinking away, and then throughout today you can see those showers popping up. So by mid-afternoon, while the time you're probably watching this, you can see there are a scattering of showers, some of them turning wintry. Feeling quite chilly out there with a northerly wind, with quite a cold wind chill. Those showers continue, potentially turning quite heavy towards sunset, perhaps in the south as well, and across the far north of Scotland, turning wintry as well. But overnight tonight, many areas got clear skies with potential for a quite harsh overnight frost. For tomorrow, we're going to see, again, some cumulus clouds popping up, maybe a few showers, and the heavier showers in the far north of Scotland. Again, could see some accumulations of snow over the high ground, but that's not too unusual, of course, this time of year. Beyond that, though, you can see cloud building up from the southwest, and these are weather fronts bringing much milder air, if not warm air, but associated with more cloud and rain as well, pushing in. And you can see a lot of heavy pulses of rain, perhaps especially further westwards. Nothing too crazy, but then you can start to see maybe some very heavy rain pushing up from the south on Tuesday. And it's all because this is quite a warm air mass, as we'll see in a second. Pushing northwards, and when we do see clear skies, perhaps for a time, it's going to feel quite warm out there, maybe even a little bit muggy as well. So if we do actually temporarily have a look at those upper air temperatures, you can see at the moment it is pretty cold out there, getting down to -5 quite widely, if not below that. And that continues over the next few days, and that's why we're seeing all these widespread frosts. But you can see by Sunday, from the far southwest, we see quite muggy, warm air, 10, 11 degrees at 850 HPA in the far south, potentially pushing up for a time on Tuesday, and that's fueling all that rain, and those showers could be a bit thundery and torrential within that before it does push through. That's not the warm air we were talking about at the start of the video. That is coming a little bit later, perhaps. But yeah, a little bit of a push of warmer air there, nothing crazy, but could give temperatures in the mid-teens for a time being. Now, if we do have to go to max temperatures, you can see earlier this morning, widespread frost for many areas further northwards. For the far south, a little bit milder with that thicker cloud, but still getting towards freezing in a few spots. This afternoon, pretty chilly, 9 to 11 degrees, nothing massively cold, but colder than average, and it's going to feel chilly with that northerly breeze. Over the course of the evening, it's going to drop down once again quite close towards freezing for many areas. Rural areas getting well below freezing, towns and cities towards sort of 0 or 1 degree. So very cold indeed, coldest air again, and coldest temperatures further northwards. And that will continue to see by Saturday afternoon once again, sort of 10, 11 degrees, much colder in the north, and then another widespread frost, even colder, especially for central southern England for early hours of Tuesday. That's where we're going to see sort of the peak frost across parts of Wales, the Midlands into central southern England, perhaps -2 to -4 degrees. Beyond that, through Sunday, temperatures lifting up a little bit with that wind direction changing in from the southwest, maybe 12 or 13 degrees, but it's through the evening you can see it doesn't drop towards frost really apart from the far north of Scotland. See by Monday afternoon, potentially 15, 16 degrees, but as I said, with cloud and rain around, it won't feel all too great, but perhaps a little bit muggy. And that continues, see by Tuesday afternoon, with that real warm push of air, we could be seeing 20 degrees perhaps in isolated pockets in the Midlands and East Anglia, maybe in the far southeast, and that's all because of this warm air mass. As I said, it's not going to feel anything that crazy, unless we did see the sunshine break through. And you can see it's quite localised. I suspect this is where the UK Met Office run is seeing potentially a little bit of a cloud break, and that's why we can see those temperatures skyrocket up from sort of 14, 15 degrees. Beyond that, not too cold through Wednesday. So you can see we have got the potential for warm weather over the coming weeks, and if we do see a sustained period of warm upper air temperatures, I wouldn't be surprised to be seeing 20 degrees, maybe even mid-20s in the next few weeks. So we do have a look at that longer term forecast, have a look at the GFS, GM and ECMWF. You can see at the moment northerly winds, and that's and Storm Diego just to our south into the near continent. These northerly winds are going to continue, but you can see they become more slack with high pressure building over the top of the UK, turning things more frosty over the coming days with less showers. And then you can see southerly winds build up with low pressure, turning things very unsettled, potentially thundery, heavy rain with that, but with the winds coming in from the south, warm upper air temperatures. We'll have a look at those again in a minute. Beyond that though, high pressure does build in, and this is where big uncertainty comes in. Most of the models do have this high pressure building in, but the GFS has very much has a tendency to build it further northwards and start to try and pull in easterly winds. Now this run doesn't do it as much. Some of the previous runs really got some proper northern blocking going, like proper wintry conditions if we were in January, February time, but for the time being just quite chilly and frosty. You can see high pressure just stays over the top of the UK, and it all depends on the air mass we do have. And if I do run it back and we have a look at those air masses, you'll be able to see that at the moment, cold upper air conditions, and then much milder, warm push of air for next Tuesday. Wednesday time, could be seeing 20 degrees, as I said, and then we see that high pressure build in, but actually we've got quite a chilly air mass coming in from the far east, quite cold indeed, especially in the south. And it's just this pocket of colder air. So even though we've got high pressure building in, just because the orientation has more of an easterly wind, you can see we do go a little bit colder than average and stay colder than average. Frost and chilly conditions, probably dragging in quite a lot of cloud in from the east. But I've said this before, this GFS run and the GFS recently has very much been more on the colder end of the spectrum. And now if we do have a look at the GM run, see how that does compare, we'll see it is complete opposites, as we'll see in a minute. So we do run through northerly winds, high pressure building back in with a southerly wind eventually, turning things quite warm and mild, and then high pressure builds back in, but it builds over the top and to the south of the UK as well. And you see any of those easterly winds are far out towards Eastern Europe, turning it colder there. And you can see the wind direction generally for us, even though it's not a direct southerly wind, it generally is a southerly wind with air being drawn up from the Mediterranean and North Africa, turning things very warm. Now just you wait for those upper air conditions. If we do have a look at those, you can see cold at the moment. Southerly winds with a warm push of air come early next week. And then that high pressure builds in with warm upper air conditions, and you can see a real big push of warmth perhaps in around 10 days' time. You can see 15-degree isotherm is across parts of France, Spain, Portugal, and the 10-degree isotherm is getting into the UK, and that would give temperatures widely in the mid-20s. And if we do have a look at the United Kingdom, have a look at those 2-meter temperatures. If we do run it back a little bit, you can see widely mid to high teens, if not getting towards 20 degrees, and that's at midday, not the peak of the day, so widely will be higher than that. And of course, this is GM and sort of a mid-range model, high resolution. I wouldn't be surprised to be seeing 25 degrees with this sort of pattern. And if we do look back at the European look, you can see, if we have a look at those temperature deviations, getting well above average, 10 to 12 degrees above average, potentially from this GM run. This is a consistent signal we are seeing from some of these runs. So we do have a look at the ECMWF run, which see how that does compare. I've seen it already, and I must say it does very much side more towards the GM run. So we do run through, you see northerly winds, then southerly push next week, and then the high pressure builds up from the south. Yes, it's not as warm, and it's not got as much of a direct southerly, at least initially, and the high pressure is starting to build in, potentially building in a little bit of a colder air mass, but generally from sort of day 7 to day 10, it's very broadly the similar pattern to the ECMWF run, not building that high pressure further northwards like the GFS run has. So if we do run it back and have a look at those upper air conditions, you can see again cold northerly winds over the next couple of days, warm push of air next week, and then as that high pressure builds back in, you can see quite warm upper air conditions. That 10-degree isotherm just sits to our south, perhaps holding off the warmest conditions, and then right towards the end of the run, perhaps things coming more in from a northwesterly. But at least for the time being, for a good few days there, in the south at least, we'd definitely be going quite warm and dry, potentially into the low 20s with that sort of upper air conditions, because again, if we have a look at the temperature deviation, you can see that really warm hot air just to our south. Hot air for this time of year, let's just say. In the summer, not so much, perhaps still getting us to around average or just above average in the summer, but it would give us some very warm conditions now, and I know a lot of people probably are looking forward to that after the sort of bad weather we've had recently. Again, I'm very much along the lines of winter weather is good when it falls in winter, not in spring when we want some sunshine, some dry conditions, and spring-like conditions, really. So hopefully we do see this pattern come, and if we do have a look at the ensembles, you can see most of them do go for this broad pattern. Now, the GFS Ensembles, unfortunately, are not working today. Hasn't updated the midnight run beyond about 6 or 7 days. There's really no point looking at it, really. So just have a look at the ECMWF run. They've got 50 ensemble members, so it is very much a good run. And you can see, very cold at the moment. It's getting down to -5 at 850 HPA. And then we see a big rise towards early next week. And that's why we could see 20 degrees, perhaps. But as I said, with rain and cloud, it could hold those temperatures down. But when we see clear skies, as we saw with the UK Met Office run at the start of the video, 20 degrees is possible. Now, those upper air temperatures stay really quite warm on the majority of ensemble runs, and you can even see towards the 17th, 18th of April, that's day 10, where that GM run was going really warm. You can see there are quite a few ensemble members getting up towards that 10+ degree level. Quite a few others, though, are dipping colder, perhaps in line more with the GFS run. And in the longer term, you can see most of them are just generally around average, maybe slightly below average right in the longer term. But of course, we can't say too much about beyond day 10, because you see there is a lot of uncertainty. Some going really warm, others going really cold. But at least for the next 10 days, apart from the next sort of 3 or 4, beyond that, sort of day 4 to day 10 is looking warmer than average, and regardless of where we see precipitation and cloud, if we do see that subside for a little bit, we see some sunshine around, those temperatures will really lift up. And you can see there is precipitation around, but it's not crazy, and most likely will be convective in nature, so showers and thunderstorms popping off. So some days will be completely dry, other days we could see a washout. So it's very difficult to forecast that at this stage. So temperatures are going to be very much changing, choppy and changing, depending on if we see any features or showers activity develop. But for the time being, with warm upper air temperatures, we could really be seeing something quite warm for the second half, or at least middle third perhaps, of April, with things turning quite a bit drier as well. And if we do have a look at those sea level pressure, you can see widely getting much higher. You can see around 14th to 18th of April, widely around 1,020 millibars, quite high at high pressure. so drier conditions. And if we finally finish up by having a look at the temperature, 2 meter temperature, you can see cold over the next few days, hardly getting above 10 degrees. And then towards early next week, perhaps 15, 16 degrees for a day or two, but quite a little bit of uncertainty with that, depends on the cloud amounts. And beyond that, for around the 12th, 13th of April, all the way to around the 18th, widely 15 to 20 degrees from most of the ensemble members, and some even going a little bit higher. And of course, ensemble members are not high resolution, so there's very high possibility we see something even warmer than that in the right areas. So we'll have to keep an eye on it, but at this stage it is looking a little bit more encouraging than it was a few days ago for seeing something a little bit warmer and drier. Nothing guaranteed at this stage, but it definitely is looking like we're going to be seeing warmer upper air conditions for the middle third of April, and we see any sunshine within that, any drier days, it's going to feel pretty decent. So if you're looking forward to some warmer, dry weather, it does look like we will be seeing something like that over the next week or two. So anyway, thanks for watching. Hope you enjoyed. Stay safe out there in the cold weather in the next few days, and hopefully we'll see something a little bit warmer very, very soon. So I'll see you again for another video soon.